Hello, I'm Carrie Fell. Welcome to my studio. Back in the dark ages when I was in art college, they didn't really teach watercolor painting. It wasn't a thing, and I believe it should be. Even if watercolors don't end up being your medium for creating final paintings, I believe it can be a very useful sketching tool and a way of getting color down on paper quickly. Having almost no experience with watercolor, I decided to pick it up about, somewhere between 10 and 15 years ago. I decided to give it a try. And because I was very intimidated by trying to fill a large piece of paper, I decided to start small. So I made little artist trading cards. The very first one I did had a lot of time put into it. I took a photo of a bullfighter that I had taken on one of my trips to Mexico, and I tried to create a painting, a watercolor painting, just a tiny little one from that photo. And it ended up being quite successful. I was happy with it. When it was time to go, I picked up my jar of water and my painting in two hands and got up to go take it over to another room. Well, you can guess what happened. The water started to slip, the water jar. I quickly sort of adjusted my grip on the jar of water, and big slosh from the jar to the painting that I was holding. I stood there in horror as my watercolor painting dissolved into a big blurry mess. I resolved then and there, no more watercolors, and I took up acrylic, and I worked for many years in acrylic. Because I had so much invested in this little watercolor painting of mine, I actually took acrylics to it and repainted right on top of it with acrylics, and that painting actually sold on eBay. Probably ended up being a little bit better because it was much looser with the dissolved watercolor painting beneath. It ended up being a much more impressionistic painting. Years later, I was doing the art show circuit, so I was traveling around Alberta mainly, setting up my white tent and selling paintings from it. And I was making what I call my tourist paintings. I was spending lots of time in the mountains. My parents lived there, so I painted the mountains quite a bit. And for some reason, I decided to pick up the watercolors again. So this time I started with a pen and ink. So I would draw the entire image first in pen, black pen, and then take the watercolors in to it afterwards. So this is Mount Rundle. And I have found this to be a good way of using the watercolors. I'm still not loose enough to just throw big washes on there and see what happens. I have the security of my pen drawing underneath, and then I go in with the watercolor washes afterwards to give it some life and color. So now I live on the East Coast. I live in Cape Breton. I still have some of my watercolors from Alberta. There's Lake Louise. So not just the mountains, but also the area where I was living. This is Elk Island National Park. And this is also Elk Island National Park. So, and there's more. So I no longer travel to shows around selling my paintings for a couple of reasons. One, the East Coast doesn't seem to have those type of shows, the pop-up art shows on the streets and parks. And two, it is now COVID times. So as many of you know, I have built an online website, and you can find the address for that in the description to this video below. And I have my watercolor paintings in my store there. So feel free to go to my website, carriefell.com, or directly to the store and see what's there. Now here in Cape Breton, I quite enjoy doing watercolors, and I'm finding myself doing it a lot more than I used to. I am currently working on some Cape Breton watercolor paintings, and I have a video in the works of me painting some beach scenes from around here. So stay tuned, there'll be a video of me in action painting. Probably sped up. I have trouble painting and talking at the same time, so it'll probably be set to music or commentary put on afterwards or something. Need to be in my own space in my head while I'm painting. So look for those coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon to get notifications of any future videos. Thank you for watching.